Guys, I hate to break it to you, praying a prayer once isn't what gets you into heaven. Why in the modern church do we have this thing of saying a salvation prayer? I believe it comes from Romans 10 verse 9, and it says that if you confess with your mouth that the Lord Jesus and believe in your heart that God has raised him from the dead, that you will be saved. For with the heart one believes unto righteousness, and with the mouth confession is made unto salvation. See, there's two parts to this. There's first believing in your heart, which is counted to you unto righteousness. This isn't just believing in Jesus, that he was a historical figure, that he may have walked the earth, that he may have done these miracles, but actually believing that he rose from the dead. When we believe that Jesus rose from the dead, all of a sudden he doesn't just become a mere man, but he becomes fully God and fully man to us. Because when Jesus died and resurrected, his death proved that he was a man, but his resurrection proved that he was God. And when we believe in that resurrection in our heart, it's accounted to us to righteousness, because we are put on a level of righteousness with God. The book of Romans talks on and on about how our own righteousness cannot save us. Even if we followed the law perfectly, even if we looked like the perfect Christian, our own righteousness cannot do it for us. And believing in your heart in Jesus' death, burial, and resurrection is what brings us to that place of righteousness where we can actually be before God. Now it's this next point that I really want to get into, where it says, with the mouth confession is made unto salvation. I believe that's where the prayer of salvation came from, because we believe in our heart, but if we don't confess before man that Jesus is Lord, then there's no way to enter into salvation. Look, Jesus being Lord doesn't mean that we just get to live our lives however. It actually means that he becomes the Lord over our life, that he gets to tell us what to do. He gets to tell us what our lives look like. It doesn't mean that we just pray a prayer once saying that we believe in him, but we actually truly make him Lord. In the start of this book, Paul actually refers to himself as a bond servant of Christ, and that he is set apart for the gospel. If we actually want to follow Jesus, this isn't just praying a prayer once and living our life however. It's believing in him in our hearts, believing in the righteousness of God, where our sin was done away with on a cross, where we are entered into newness of life through his resurrection, having that belief in our heart, but then actually confessing that he is the Lord of our life. And when we make confessions that we really mean, we follow through with action. I ask you this today, have you just prayed a prayer or just go to church on Sunday, or is Jesus actually the Lord of your life? Because when you confess something and you actually mean it, your life will then begin to look like what you've confessed.